Just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier in California, Caitlyn Jenner has entered the mix to run for the governor of California. It's about to get wild and wacky in the Golden State, folks. And on today's video, I'm going to break down Caitlyn Jenner's run. I'm going to talk about where she stands on the issues facing Californians in the upcoming recall election. And I'm going to give you my prediction as to whether she has a chance of winning or will someone else become the next governor of California. Let's go. Hey, what's up, my friends? I am Dima. Thanks for tuning in to another video. I really appreciate you coming back and tuning in. And this is going to be a fun one because today we're talking about my favorite topic, California. So as you know, guys, if you've been following the channel, Governor Gavin Newsom's reign of terror might be ending soon. I recently did a video talking about the recall that's currently going on in California. You can check that out right over here if you want to watch the full video on the process of the recall, how it's going down, and what's going to happen. But in short, the recall election is set to take place in about November here in California. So we've got plenty of time and plenty of time for people to come out of the woodworks and make their bid for the governorship. One such person who came out last week, no pun intended, to join the fray is former Olympic champion and masked singer contestant Caitlyn Jenner. So Caitlyn entered the mix here, and she is going to run for governor, saying, "I'm in." Now, Caitlyn Jenner, folks, is a Republican, by the way. She once famously said that it was easier to come out as transgender as it was as a Republican. Give that some thought, folks. Anyhow, let's go ahead and dive in, take a look at the article, and also review Caitlyn's policies, which you might actually find kind of refreshing, since Gavin Newsom has really just used Newsom science in his crazy lockdowns and mask orders and all of the other nonsense that has really pissed off California residents over the last year and which really started this recall effort in the first place. So let's dive in and take a look at what Caitlyn has to say. Hey guys, I got a quick favor to ask you. I'm working really hard to grow the channel, putting out lots of awesome content for you. And if you like what you're seeing here, do me a favor, hit the like button right down below, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you get notified about all of my videos. Back to the action. So here it is, guys. Caitlyn Jenner announces plans to run for governor of California. Caitlyn Jenner announced Friday she intends to run for governor of California in a recall election that is likely to be formalized in the coming days. Caitlyn said, "I'm a proven winner and the only outsider who can put an end to Gavin Newsom's disastrous time as governor." Disastrous, to say the least. So here's what I was talking about earlier. The Olympic gold medalist and transgender rights activist is a longtime Republican and joins a crowded field of conservatives hoping to unseat Newsom, who has been the state's Democratic governor for the past 2 years. And as I mentioned on my last video talking about the recall, an election would be held no earlier than November 2nd and as late as November 30th. So guys, in politics and really in what's going on in the state, from now until November is a lifetime. It's an eternity, especially in the land of politics. So a lot can happen. If the last election for a recall, which happened in 2003 when Arnold Schwarzenegger won, is any indication, guys, we are going to have a long list of candidates step up and try to attempt to run as governor. In fact, I've even talked about it on my channel, and a lot of you guys have supported me, so I do want to thank you for that. So continuing on, it does say here that the 71-year-old Jenner famously voted for Donald Trump in 2016. She actually retracted that later, saying that it was probably a mistake because of the Trump administration's stance on the trans community. Now, interestingly, a lot of Jenner's initial advisory team actually includes a lot of President Trump's supporters and supporting characters, and so that's kind of an interesting thing. What she also said in this article is that Californians want better and deserve better from their governor. I mean, I don't know how you could get much worse than Gavin Newsom. And she also says that for too long, career politicians have overpromised and undelivered, which is really the way of the California Democrats. I think it's in their playbook. Also says here that in her announcement of intention, Jenner zeroed in on Newsom's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, which we, I think, all agree was pretty awful and continues to be pretty awful, including mask mandates and the opening of schools. This isn't the California we know. That is for sure. This is a great quote here where she says this is Gavin Newsom's California, where he orders us to stay home but goes out to dinner with his lobbyist friends. That, of course, speaking of the famous, or infamous, I should say, French Laundry dinner. Also says Jenner cited these issues as well as high taxes as part of her reason for running. And in a slight indication of perhaps things to come in terms of policy, she told People in June that she identifies as economically conservative and socially progressive, which is kind of a libertarian point of view. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, I think she will run as a Republican, or maybe in the recall election, it doesn't really matter. But, you know, the libertarian point of view is kind of the small government, socially progressive, fiscally conservative approach that she is talking about. Now, her road to winning in the article, it says it's tough. The odds of Jenner or any of her Republican opponents unseating Newsom are low. A recent public opinion poll of the Democratic Stronghold said that 56% of those polled would vote no on removing the current governor. Guys, I honestly don't understand how that can be. I have been living in California through the entire pandemic, and I can tell you that everyone I talk to, everyone I see, is against pretty much everything that Gavin Newsom has done. I don't know one person who supports anything that Gavin has done in the state. It's been a shit show, to say the least. So if 56% of people will not vote no on the recall, a double negative there, that is lunacy to me. But I guess there are a lot of interesting people here in California who like to be locked down, who like to be told what to do, and who like having their kids at home all the time and not in school. It's just crazy. But I guess it's going to be an interesting few months as we see how all of this unfolds. So guys, here's where the fun comes in. Here's where I get to give you my perspective and give you my opinion on what I think will happen here in California. So, with respect to the recall, as I said on the last video, I do believe, of course, that the recall election will get set. They've passed the threshold for signatures, and I think that's definitely going to happen. The election will be set sometime in November, as I mentioned earlier on this video. And so that's going to give people a lot of time to figure out who's running. People are going to run. People are going to come out of the woodwork. Last time we had porn stars. We had Gary Coleman. We had all kinds of people running for governor of California. Ultimately, Arnold Schwarzenegger ended up winning that recall election because he was a worldwide star. It was a name that people could really rally around. So it was really easy for people to vote Gray Davis out, who really no one liked at the time, and vote Arnold in. In this case, it's going to be interesting. First of all, the state is much more Democratic than before. It is a one-party state now. Before, it was leaning heavily Democrat, but it wasn't like it is now, where the Democrats essentially control every single chamber of government and control everything in the state. So I think it's going to be a lot tougher. First of all, no Democrats, I don't think, are going to run against Newsom because Pelosi probably won't have it. So that likely won't happen. So it's going to be first question on the ballot, do you want to recall Newsom or not? Second question, if he does get recalled, who do you pick? So I will tell you, interestingly, that someone like Caitlyn Jenner, I believe, actually has a pretty good chance of winning. It's a famous name. It's something that you know. You've heard of her. She's got the name recognition. And in terms of policies, right, you have the progressive social policies that Californians love, and yet you have the fiscally conservative policies that a lot of Republicans and conservatives in the state are dying for. And so, folks, I gotta tell you, it might just happen. So guys, I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below on the video. Will Newsom finally get recalled? Will our prayers get answered? And if he does, who's going to win? Will it be Caitlyn Jenner? Will it be some of the other candidates like Major Williams? Some of the other folks that said that they are running? There's a lot of good candidates. And then, of course, like I said, we are going to get a ton of others that enter the mix and run here in November for the governorship of California. Well, it's going to be interesting to say the least. So thanks again for tuning in to another video on the channel. I really appreciate you. Make sure if you got value here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my videos, and I will see you on the next video.